Welcome back to another video here on the second channel. This is the very first video that I'm doing covering news related to the game Hytale. If you haven't seen the trailer for this game, it will be linked in the description box down below. We are currently on Hytale.com, where we're going to be looking through the blogs that are revealing things about this game. And if you're unaware of it, it's potentially a natural successor to Minecraft, or a game that Minecraft fans will really enjoy. And what I'd like to do is actually keep you informed on what's happening with this game, as well as doing my Minecraft news videos as well. The website has a blog. We're on Hytale.com, and I wasn't aware of this until a few days ago, so we're all actually quite far behind on all of these different things that we've been told about the game. So this first video that I'm making is going to cover all of them, and yes, this is a video about me reading a blog and telling you about it. If this is just preferable, if you like to sit back, relax, and you don't want to do the reading yourself, I'm going to go through, we're going to look at the pictures, and I'm going to summarize what the text is about and give you some of my thoughts and opinions as well. That is the format for this type of video, and then in the future it will probably be a single blog post at a time. Whenever one comes out, I will take a look, I'll make some notes and tell you what I think about it and show you all the images that are shared, etc, etc. So let's jump into it with our first one that was posted over a month ago, the Hytale UI. So in this very first post, they talk about how the game has been development in for years and how things are still in development, and what you're going to see in these screenshots may not be the final product. They're experimenting and they're figuring things out. This first screenshot though tells us a lot about how the avatar in the game will be, and it also gives us some hints as to how the game will be structured. At the top here you've got the main menu, adventure, minigames, servers, avatar settings. Over on this side you've got like a little avatar icon. Appears to be a messaging system and a friends list system built into the game. If we have a look at the menu here though for customizing your avatar, it looks like there are indeed a lot of options. Things like props with glasses and hats, you can even put facial hair on, and there are a lot of options here. Notably, it's down on the scroll bar thing here, so there could be a lot more hidden up there. Potentially a lot of different designs could be in the final game, but lots of choice for colours, and there's also additional options here. So it looks like the avatar aspect of this game is going to be highly customizable. The next part of this post shows us the map system, and there is quite a lot to read into here, as there is a legend down the side that gives us a hint into what the game could be like to play. So this is a top-down view. You can see there is an objective here: defeat the corrupted golem, which is centered on this map, and there is actually a player icon just over here. So this is where we are in relation to our surroundings. You can see all sorts of markers going on. So the spawn is behind us, that is marked on the map. On the bottom left here, it has a point of interest, so something that will probably reveal more information when you go there. And then you have story dungeons for progressing the storyline. This game is going to have a story in adventure mode, and when it concludes, I believe the idea is that then it becomes a sort of free world to explore. There's also an icon here which isn't part of the legend, and that one right there is a world dungeon, and then I believe we have another story dungeon next to what looks like a chest, and that's pretty much most of what there is to see. I believe these little icons here may potentially be some other players in the world with you. You can also place and remove markers and change them as well, and you're able to zoom in and out on this map, but that's about all I can read out of this image. This next screenshot reveals what the crafting system might be like. If we open it up, you can see there's a lot to take in right here, but the notes about this image sort of express, you know, they're experimenting, and one of the big ideas they're experimenting with is incorporating all of what we see here into your actual inventory. And I believe we have gone into some sort of building and opened up a workbench in order to be able to craft some weapons, but there is so much more going on here. Small little details first. There is a compass at the top, so you'll always be able to know your orientation. In the bottom right, we have what looks like the ability to open up a map, maybe a quest log, some sort of loot system perhaps, and a friends list. I'm not sure, but that one there is probably map, considering the hotkey is M. Over on the left hand side we have our avatar. We can see 4 slots for armor, 4 different types of rings, and then a central thing here. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but it should be able to let you see your stat modifications. You've got your health, a health bonus. This is probably magic, a magic bonus, defense, attack, ranged attack, and probably magic attack, I'm guessing, of what those are. Then up the top here where we have our weapons bench, you can see there are a bunch of pre-designed different types of weapons, and you only have the ability to select some of them. That may be based on some sort of skill level. As you can see here, we've selected this one, but we don't have all the materials to craft it. So crafting is done based on materials, not on a layout by the looks of it. And there's also tabs for other types of weapons up the top there as well. We've got an axe, a mace, I believe, a double axe, and then something that looks like it might be a staff or a mage stick or something like that. In the inventory you can see some armor that's been crafted, some various different types of weapons, and the blocks here are actually color coded, and we'll get to see a little bit more about that in a moment. First of all though, we have the crafting diagram concept. This is for something that comes up later on in the game, and it allows you to experiment with crafting. So I believe this is either something we've already crafted or are about to craft, and then you can experiment with putting different types of items into it to then create unique items that can have good or bad attributes. That's how I read the text of their little post there. It seems to work for weapons, for ranged weapons, and for armor, but not too much else to read into this image at the moment. And the last post reveals some more information about the colors of items, and these are the tooltip systems for looking at items. The idea being that you can assess these things quickly just by checking out what color they are. If we zoom in, it's given us stats like how much damage and how much damage per second. The color seems to link to the rarity, so we've got common, then rare, epic, and legendary. I believe in the right hand corner here we may have some sort of durability points for the armor or the item in question, and this one perhaps gives us a boost of 9 hearts, not entirely sure. There's also some green text here for things that happen with the weapon, like little bonuses it has. Enemies hit have a chance to be set on fire. This one over here says consumes the soul of your slain enemies, increasing your damage for a limited time, and some of the damage you deal is reflected back at you. And then there's a little note there, once belonged to a demon soul reaper. So a little bit of lore going into this as well. Reminds me of Diablo 2, which is a very fond thing for me, and this is fantastic. But it's also the end of that blog post, so now we'll be moving on to the next one. And now we have the post about NPCs. This is very interesting. We get to meet some of the creatures that will be inside of the world. And the first ones here are the Quebecs, a society to discover, as it says. These things look cute. They are friendly inhabitants of the world that you'll meet early on in the game. And they have a very interesting inspiration and kind of life cycle in the game, let's say. They will start out as very young infants and grow all the way to elderly adults. And the thing is, they start off being very fast, full of energy, and they get slower with age. And then when they die as elderly adults, they drop the seeds that create the new generation of the Quebecs. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Remember, it is a made-up word, I believe. And that means that they don't get to learn from their parents. They actually learn from what are known as tree singers, which may be an accompanying set of NPCs. Now at the bottom here it also says that it's not just a story, it's an important part about how Quebecs operate in the game. So they're going to be crucial to the game as well, which sounds fantastic. I mean, look at this right here. It looks really glorious. I love everything about this creature so far. I hope it has some really cool animations and sound effects to go along with them. Next up are the Troughs, I believe, clearly inspired by trolls and not looking too different from them. In this image we get to see 5 different types and a pet wolf, and it says that there will be many variations and different classes of these creatures. And reading through the text here and looking at the image, it also talks about how their behavior patterns will be based on their looks. So each of the different subtypes, as it calls them, will have different behavior and attributes, which is interesting. Creates a lot of detail for the different types of mobs that we're going to see in this game. It also hints at a model maker as well, and the ability to create or customize your own NPC variations too. So the amount of depth this game is going into from the start looks really fantastic, but also opening it up for you to customize and create your own as well sounds absolutely fantastic. And then we have animals, interactive inhabitants of the world. And with the text that accompanies these images, I think the point they're trying to get across is that they want to introduce animals into the game with some depth and some intelligence to how they behave. They hint at being able to hunt, domesticate or raise these animals, and that you'll be able to interact with them in different ways. And the way they describe how you could interact with chickens to get eggs from them really seems to me like they're trying to push an intelligent AI that makes a lot of sense and feels like they're part of the world. If we were to use Minecraft as an example, pretty much every mob can be gamified, and the AI, of course, is very primitive. Monsters, a tough challenge awaits. I like the look at this. This creature right here looks like it was inspired by perhaps spiders and those things from Half-Life that hug your face. The detail on the avatar here is fantastic, by the way. There's not too much else to read into this picture. It looks like we're in some sort of dungeon, and the way the text describes the game here, I think it very much hints at something that I've read about, which is that the game is going to have an adventure mode, but that's going to conclude, and then it's going to be an open sandbox as it describes itself here. So there will be a set of hand-designed boss encounters. Those are probably the ones that are part of the adventure, and then the rest may be more procedurally generated, but that's just me reading into what we can see here. There is some concept art right here, and the post also talks about how they want to make clever fights where you can't just go in with overpowered gear. You need to learn how the boss operates, find its weaknesses, and kill them that way, which is really awesome. And then the final bit of text just says that they don't really want to create any spoilers for the monsters, so this may actually be the last that we get to see on them. And that one right there looks dangerous. That's what I'll say. That is an awesome looking creature. And that's not all. It says they're going to be providing much more info on Hytale's NPCs. I believe those are the creatures we interact with. They're not going to show us more about the bosses, I think is the idea. And they've left us with a treat right here. That kitten is cute and adorable. That pigeon is just dorky and wonderful. I love it. I love the animation there. Fantastic. We've got a slivery snake, and then at the bottom here, a young Quebec. I think these things are really going to be a fantastic mascot for the game. They look awesome. So cute and adorable. I wish there was more, but now we have to move on to the next post. This next post, Welcome to Hypixel Studios, isn't so much about the Hytale game, but the fact that they are now becoming Hypixel Studios, and Hytale will be their first game. So this is going into the detail of the history of the evolution from being a Minecraft server into becoming a game studio, how they looked at different ways of developing and funding the development, reaching out to other gaming companies, including Riot Games, which are now actually, I believe, an investor of Hypixel Studios. They've helped them get this off the ground. And there's also a note in here that they are actually in the Guinness Book of World Records for being the most popular independent server for a video game, which I thought was absolutely awesome. Here we get to see a screenshot of what looks like a lobby of a Hypixel server minigame, right? But this is in Hytale, so this is probably a minigame server lobby inside of Hytale itself. The blog post goes into a lot more detail. A couple more things caught my eye. It describes the game as a project that combines a new adventure game with Hypixel minigames and empowering tools. That last part right there is the bit that I'm most excited in. The ability to bring your own ideas, your own creativity into the game through being able to customize it, which is something we've been seeing in these posts and been hinted at so far, which is fantastic. It also touches on the current server, the Java Edition server, and how it will continue to be developed with a full team getting behind that. So things will be as normal for the Hypixel servers. And there's this glorious screenshot right here of what I believe is a portal, although it could be a window looking into an ocean. There is all sorts of detail going on here on the ground. Looks like there's some junk and old armor etched in there, and something's going on over on this side. Fascinating screenshot right there. And they also pass on some thanks to Microsoft and Mojang for being supportive and having a positive attitude when it comes to the community around Minecraft. And then we have the FAQ from December the 13th. Look, I'm a month late to this. I wasn't aware of these posts. Anyway, there's a large FAQ here. I've missed out a few questions I didn't think were that relevant, and I've sort of cherry-picked the best of what's in here. So, release date for Hypixel, they just want to reach a high standard, and they want to get there as fast as they can. So, no release date, but they're working on it. They were asked, like, what is the main mode of this game? They've said free as a response, adventure mode, mini-games, and they've described creative tools as the other one. Now, I remember exploring the website a while ago and finding this. Tools made for creators. This stuff I think is fantastic for learning, for being introduced to learning to make things for games. They're going to be cinematic tools. For those of you who like to make miniature movies, this stuff is going to be built in. That's just absolutely fantastic. Going to be able to create movies in game by the looks of it. Then you'll be able to edit everything, as it says. This looks like some form of MC Edit, so powerful editing tools for creating worlds. And then this stuff right here is like a real skill set by the looks of it, learning how to model and animate the various things inside of the game. These could be some actual skills young people could learn and take out into the world and use in game development. Possibly, I could be overreaching there. Also in-game scripting, so potentially teaching people how to do some coding as well, which I just think is fantastic. It also says that community servers can take advantage of these tools and shape the game in their own vision, which is something I think is going to be really fantastic. We'll see probably all types of game modes, stories, and other things emerge on a server community around this game. That's what I'm really excited about right there. It's going to be released on PC and Mac with server support for Linux. There will be a user reservation system brought out in the future at some point. The age rating that they're aiming for is T for teen. There are going to be parental tools built into this, which sounds really progressive. I like this, to allow parents to understand what their children are doing when they play this game online, how long they're playing for, etc. It's been asked, is it going to be a free-to-play or paid game? And they didn't actually give an answer, so in my mind, if it was going to be paid for up front, they would probably know that by now. So I think they're probably trying to see if they can emulate the Fortnite model and have it as a free-to-play. But there's no answer, that's just my speculation. There will be beta testing of this game, so you'll be able to get your hands on it before it's finished. And stats do not move across from their Hypixel servers to this new one. There's a lot of questions here about Hypixel, some that we've already answered as well. And also the last note about, can you tell us more about PvP? They're basically saying they take PvP really seriously. They know what the PvP community is about, and they're going to make sure they take their time and get PvP right in this game, which sounds really promising. And now into the technical part of the FAQ. The game is built on its own custom-made engine. It's going to have two-step authentication for your accounts. That means they can be extra secure in case your password gets stolen or hacked. There's a question here about if they're going to support modding, and they're saying yes, we absolutely support modding, but not on the client level. No modding of the client will be allowed, and that is to secure the fairness of playing things like PvP. However, on the server side, the servers that you connect to, that's where you can go ham with the modding and change, as they say, pretty much every aspect of the game, from textures to stats to speeds, and all sorts of things will be customizable, and that will be done through the server experience. You connect to a server, that place is where the mod will be, and not on the client end of the game. It also says that servers are going to be free to run, just like the Minecraft model, and they're going to have official servers all around the world, and it will be optimized so you connect to the fastest one when you play their mini games. And they're also aiming to run this on the lowest spec possible, stating here that an integrated laptop GPU, that's the graphics card, with default view distance is fine. So it looks like they're trying to, reach as many players as possible and keep the requirements as low as they can. There's also a content creator FAQ. That is what I am, a content creator, and this is very similar to Minecraft, just an open approach of you can take things from the game and you can make videos with it. You can basically make remixable content. It also sort of goes into that from a server perspective as well, right? What about monetizing? What about, I could, for example, make a video on the game. What about someone who wants to make a server and then charge people to play on it? They're talking about in the future posting a bunch of guidelines and rules on what is allowed in order to do that. So this is Hypixel. They know all about what's happened in the Minecraft community with pay to win, and they're probably going to put together an intelligent set of rules and then, reveal that at some point in the future. Our next post is a happy holidays one for the festive season, which has passed, of course, and this also comes with a video that we're going to just let play here. This post is just mainly them saying thank you for all of the feedback. They're really pleased with some of the journalism going on around the game, the community's response, the amount of views on YouTube, and as a response to all of that, they're going to be ramping up the production pace and speed, hiring more people, because clearly the interest in this game is much higher than they ever expected. It also says the effects you're seeing in this video have been turned up to kind of show you what the game is capable and make it really clear what's going on. This is just the dynamic fog. And now I wonder, are there actually more videos on this channel? Because I'm sure I'm subscribed to it, but I don't recall seeing this in my subscription box. Anyway, I'm going to go investigate, and we'll move on in this video to the next post. Then we have an introduction to world generation, and it points out that the screenshots you're going to see won't have creatures and enemies inside of them, as to, you know, not have any spoilers. But it also goes to show how far into this game is. I imagine it's probably quite playable as it is at this point in time. Anyway, there are going to be 6 zones in the world of Orbis, as it says here. That is the name of the Hytale world that you'll be operating inside of. Let's make this image even larger. This is some fantastic concept art right here, and it shows how each different zone has its own rules of generation. So the terrain on top will feel different, the cave systems underneath will be different, and the creatures that inhabit them, the kind of structures that will there, will all follow their own set of rules. So some really advanced and deep stuff going on right here. It then goes on to show us some screenshots from each of the different zone. This is the first zone. We can see a structure at the bottom. We can see one top left. There's some real interesting terrain going on over here with hills that have holes in them. There's another one back there. Little structure over here, some blue trees on the right, another structure. Lots of things populating this world. It looks fantastic. The trees look really gorgeous as well. As we move through these screenshots, this one I believe is from the 3rd zone. I love the look of the generation here. Look at those glowing crystals that overhang there. There's going to be a lot of fun in exploration in this game, it would seem. And then we have a sort of shot, a cut through one of some structures that you'll find. So we're already learning that we're going to have chests and beds, but look at the detail of them. I really like the balance here. You got a bench and a chair on that side, and something on the ground over here. A trapdoor, do I see? Yeah, lots of things from the get-go. It looks really fantastic. This one right here I believe is also from Zone 3. This is a coastal region. It talks about how it's going to have different biomes on its coast for like rivers and beaches. And then this one is from the 2nd zone, and if we have a look here we can see like beaches in the middle. Over there we've got some hills and cliffs down here on the left at the side of the ocean. There are 2 other screenshots for this part of the post. We got some underwater stuff going on over here. We've got coral blocks underground, structures that are lost down there, and I know some of you are going to be drawing comparisons to the aquatic update of Minecraft. This stuff though just looks gorgeous. Look at that cave. I want to go explore in that cave. I also love the water shimmering effect of the light coming through right here. That is a really nice detail. And speaking of things being disabled, I can clearly see some fish over the side here, unless I'm actually mistaking them for something else. Potentially a few more in and around these screenshots, but it looks like there's some fish over there on the left. Then we have generated caves and dungeons. Boy oh boy, does this look exciting to explore. Lots of details going on, lots of different textures of blocks. This stuff just looks really fantastic. These screenshots are a little bit on the dark and gloomy side, but I love the lighting of this game. You can see the glowing effect here looking really fantastic. If we scroll down, I believe there are still some more images. Yes, this one. So they've tried to show us how the dungeons will generate by giving us a cut through image like so. If we scroll from top to bottom, you can see the looking through effect of the world, very similar to Minecraft. Probably a lot of principles here very similar to that game, but you can see how this cave is generated. You'd make your way down this main shaft, you'd have a few different odds and ends with some dead ends to explore, and then eventually make your way down to this main dungeon at the bottom here. And then we have prefabs. Yes, so they prefabricated lots of the content you see inside of the game. That's trees, that's structures, and it says here that they've made 3,785 of these so far. And you've got this fantastic screenshot showing you all the pre-made different types of trees that will then probably be randomly popped into the world when it's doing its generation. That I really, really like. I think that's a far better approach to take to trees than trying to have like an algorithm determine what they're going to look like. Portal dungeons, these are prefabricated dungeons, as it says here. A lot of these are going to be hand designed, and one of the things it says that's really interesting is that you'll be limited in what blocks you can break. Now if we think about many of the features in Minecraft, there are so many hacky ways to just get to what you want from that area by breaking blocks and taking advantage of mechanics. The fact that you won't be able to break blocks in some of these portals will really guide you into the actual challenge of what's in these different portal dungeons. And there's a few screenshots here which are just fascinating. This stuff could really be amazing and immersive to play in game. I'm really liking the concept art here. Happy little accidents. This article here just goes on to say that all the rules for these different zones can occasionally collide and create strange things. We can also see a horse in this screenshot. I thought this was going to be disabled. I'm not sure entirely what they're pointing at here, but maybe it's this river that runs underneath that cliff, and that just looks fantastic if you ask me. They show a few more examples here, like a structure that's leading into a ravine, and then this underground one right here where the caves cut through the dungeon. That just looks amazing to me. I think that's like part of the fun of exploring, is finding these kind of unique locations. And then at the bottom of their post they talk about how you will be given control of all of the attributes that shape the world, how it generates things and decides where things go. This is just another part of how customizable this game is going to be, and this will lead to some amazing online experiences on modded servers. It really will. Yeah, very excited, very excited. And last of all, to bring us up to speed, we have another post, music and new FAQ. So you'll be able to hear the music that is in the game. There are 2 songs released. They're fantastic. Highly recommend you check them out. They were made by composer Oscar Garvin, and these are really beautiful sounding songs to accompany the atmosphere of the game. Really getting excited for it listening to this music. And anyway, the post goes on to talk about how they've had over 900 applicants for the job, the crazy amount of views, how everything is going so positive, and then they go on to clarify that the beta will probably not be for a couple of months. They don't put a date on it, but that's my interpretation of all of this text, that it's not going to be at least for 2 to 3 months, maybe even longer than that. They want to focus on the game development. And they talk about that here with this question: why is there no official Discord subreddit forums yet? They're saying they're focusing on the development of the game rather than have their attention diverted into those aspects of the community. And they also don't want fans to have their expectations run away. They'd rather do all of that stuff later and get the game out there for people to know actually what the game is. Because right now it's all just in our head, right? We've all got different ideas of the things that we're seeing and how they'll actually feel as a game. They go on to talk about jobs. There'll be more jobs listed on the website soon, so if any of you are in the gaming industry looking for work, maybe go have a look at that. They also clarify that there will be a free building and creative mode for going in and just building without playing the survival aspect of the game or the adventure aspect. They also clarified that if you signed up for the beta, you'll get a confirmation email soon. You didn't get one straight away. They realized that was confusing, so they'll be sending one out in the future. They also say after it's going to be fully released as a full game, they will continue to update it into the future. I'm not sure in what form, whether it will be a sort of like weekly content patch, something periodic, or maybe big major updates like Hytale 1.1, etc., etc., expansion packs. Who knows? There's nothing there other than that they will continue to develop it into the future. And then there's also some clarification for the infinite map, because people were confused by the zones concept art, essentially saying that the map is going to be infinite. That's just one structured part of the world in which the adventure takes place. And also, will the video player support YouTube and Twitch? There is a built-in video player. They use their own one inside of the trailer, and they're confirming that you'll be able to be in the Hytale world with your friends watching YouTube and Twitch videos, probably of people playing Hytale, knowing how this day and age works, right? And that, my friends, brings us all up to speed, and you can expect to see more videos about this game when they release blog posts or other videos, whatever it is, on this channel. So feel free to subscribe if you want to be up to date. If you're watching this video and you don't really know about me or my channel, it is my second channel that you're watching. My main one has all of my Minecraft content, and in the future, if I do a Hytale Let's Play, which is highly likely, that will be going on over there. So feel free to go and check out what I do and what I'm up to. So thank you everyone for watching the video. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.